Hello everybody, Tiffany and Dragonflyer Studio here. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It's Saturday for me. My kiddo is off playing paintball with some friends, so I've got some alone time. Thought I'd make a video. I am restashing. For the last video that I made was doing some restashing videos with you guys. I'm back again, same thing, kind of getting back into the swing of things. I realized it had been 10 months since my previous video. Just work and life and craziness all taken over, so sometimes things get set aside, but I'm back in the studio and enjoying it. I am currently working on restashing my studio mostly so that I can complete this guy. This is my Darkness album that I'm working on. That's what I've called it just because it's black in color. I don't plan on covering that up at all. I have added a little sticker and done some embellishments on the inside. I will be making a video in the next series. I've given it a bookmark, and I'll bring you guys up to speed as to how that's going and where that's going. But today I just am restashing because I realized that I don't have a whole lot of embellishments handy. I'm kind of having to stop and make things as I go. When I unfortunately put all my stuff into storage, my storage unit got broken into and it was completely ransacked. They took everything. I've had to start from the ground up, but a lot of stuff that I made before, I make out of other things. I do buy some papers, and of course I have my supplies, like you can't make this stuff from scratch, right? Everybody needs their scissors and their hole punches and their tools and stuff. But other than that, everything that I put into my journals or my crafts and stuff, I try to use old packaging, and I don't know if you guys have these laying around or not, but I've learned to keep anything that you buy. Save the thing that it came in. I have some really good ideas for this. It was a little Ziploc bag. I think that I don't even know, a wax something came in. Anyway, I have some ideas for things like this. I'm going to use these in my journal. And so, yeah, a lot of stuff that you can do in your junk journals really doesn't take a lot of money. If you got a set of scissors and some glue and some markers, you go to town and make your own kind of junk journal. So be creative, think outside the box, so to speak. So I'm just going to introduce you to what I'm working with today. So I've been collecting, how shall we say, and I'll kind of tell you what some of this stuff is, because some of it is packaging, some of it came from some stuff, some of it's been clipped out of something else. So I'm just going to be working with this today, and these are my I pre-cut these just so you didn't have to sit here and watch me cut with scissors, because that's like watching paint dry. This is some paper that I was using to clean a brayer from making gel prints on. I have a gel printing pad, and I've done some videos of it in the past. So anyway, I like to play around with it and make my own prints and my own papers and stuff, which I've done. You'll see some of them inside the Darkness journal that I'm working on. But I just took the scrap and I just used a pair of craft scissors. These little guys right here. This is the pattern that I used, if you're curious. And I just chopped it up into some random shapes that I knew I would probably use for embellishments, or clusters, or hidden paper clips, just things like that. So, and then I had an extra piece of manila folder left over from some tags that I was working on, and so I took this little guy that I found at a yard sale. I was like, I don't know if it's a paper crafting tool or not, but that's what I turned it into. It might be a kid's toy for all I know, but basically a 1/2-inch piece of paper, you can feed it through here, and it gives it this unique little crinkle cut design. And then I just ran a distressing ink pad over it, and now I've got that to play around with. So I'm just going to sit here and kind of talk through the process and make some clusters. This is actually a candy wrapper from a piece of Laffy Taffy that saltwater taffy that someone gave me. I stamped a flower on it and actually used it. Here, I'll show you. I used it in making a hidden paper clip that I'm going to use in the Darkness journal. So there's my Laffy Taffy flower. It's got a brad on it so it turns, and then that's my hidden paper clip. I will make a restashing video on how to do some of these if you guys are interested. So yeah, let's let's have some fun, shall we? I do have a couple of tools sitting here next to me. I've got an ink pad and some stamps. I've got a hole punch, some plain white paper, and then of course I got my scissors and my glue and stuff. So today I'm going to be using, if anybody is curious or needs some ideas, I use this Scotch Create permanent glue stick. It is photo safe, which means it doesn't have the acids in it. It won't fade your pictures or cause anything to bleed over time, which is nice. Not sponsored, but that's what I use. So, and you might see me drag this guy out. This is my Fabrifix. It's silicone-based glue, paper to paper, paper to fabric, fabric to fabric. It's great stuff. So I'm just going to start out with kind of, these are some remnants of some tea stained paper. I just take regular paper and brew some tea, pour it in over it, let it sit, and I can do a how-to video of that as well. I don't know if I've done one of those yet or not, but these are just some remnants that I have that I thought would be nice if I just took and put some stamps on to kind of use. Oh, so this is just a little, I found this at a yard sale. I do go to a lot of yard sales. And so basically, oh, it's a clock face. Okay, I thought it was, I wasn't sure what it was because of the image on the other side. And I do this a lot. I'll do one fully stamped and then I stamp usually until the ink wears out. I think it kind of gives a unique worn effect to the stamp, which is kind of nice. So, and I will do this a lot, just playing around, and it's kind of fun. I also found these. There's some postage stamps. This one says Tachula, March 29th, 1962. There we go. Oh. I always set my used stamps aside from the clean ones because I will go back later. And this one says Hotel something, June 5th, 1901. There we go. Anyway, I go back with an alcohol wipe and clean my stamps. I don't let the ink sit on them. It doesn't really matter if it dries. The alcohol wipes clean it off. Somebody once told me, oh, well, you don't have to do that. The rubber is, you know, fine, but that's me. I like to clean them. I'll try not to babble on too much. So I'm going to set these aside. They do dry pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, they're almost all dry already. But I'm going to set these aside. You'll see them come into play here in a little bit. But it's always nice to have some things done up ahead of time because then when you sit down and create, you're not necessarily stuck in making mode. See, these are the wipes I use, they're Lysol wipes. You're not necessarily stuck in making mode. You're stuck in, you can get right into creative mode and, you know, just have fun building and making. I mean, not that this isn't creative too, because it is, but... So yeah, these are some vellum wraps that I found. They came around something. I've had them for a while. I don't know if they came around a pack of paper or cards, but anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this little guy in half here. And I really like the butterflies that are on it, so I'm going to come in here with my, this is a 2-inch hole punch. And I'm just going to clip him the best way that I can. If you learn to punch with your hole punch upside down, you can actually see what you're punching and it takes the guesswork out of it. Somebody taught me that a little while ago. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy here. Try and get him centered. There we go. And so that silicone Fabrifix, oh, come out of there. That silicone Fabrifix is really good if you're working with vellum. When it dries, it doesn't leave the glue residue behind. There we go. Fished him out of there with my tweezers. And then I really like this blue pattern. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's vellum is slightly see-through if you're unfamiliar with that material. I'm just gonna punch some circles out of here that I can go back and kind of do with as I please. All right. And if you know me, I will not throw this away just yet, because my opinion is it still has life in it yet. Like this right here, this little butterfly. Look, if we just come in and we clip it in just the right place, he can become a work of art. So yeah. So I have a bin that's under my desk. I toss all my little teeny tiny scraps into, and then eventually I'll go back and fish through them. And like once a month or so, I do what's called a declutter, and I'll throw away the stuff. I have to ask myself some really hard questions like, do you really need to keep this? Because you only have so much room, and that part I get. So let's build some clusters, shall we? I feel like I've got a few supplies. I like this one. I like the differentiation in colors. And I like that one. Those are almost the same. We'll flip that one over. And then, ooh, that one has a straight edge. Okay, so we'll make 3 clusters while we're at it. I think I'm going to take this. Ooh, I wonder if I could put this through that crimp machine. Let's see. Some best ideas always start out with the words, I wonder, right? So I do know that that crimping machine that I showed you, that little purple gizmo, this guy right here, I've measured it. That's a 1/2 inch. If I do longer than a 1/2 inch, one side comes out not crimped. So I'm just using the markings here on my cutting mat to measure out a 1/2 inch. And then we'll see if it'll go through that crimping machine and what kind of effect that gives it. It may be too thick for the crimping machine. I don't know. I haven't tried vellum yet. So I'm just going to tear that apart at its little seam. I'm going to put it in here. Nope. I've learned it's got to go in straight, otherwise it binds up the machine. Like you wouldn't think it's overly complicated, but okay. So we just turn. Maybe. There we go. And that's all there is to it. And sure enough, it took the pattern. Look, it's all crimped and crinkled. It's kind of cool. Oh, that's where it's glued together. Okay, so yeah. Now we have that little texture to work with. So, grab my scissors. I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm just going to clip off a piece of that. Well, I say vellum's a little different to cut. Anyway, so when building clusters, my art school thought pattern comes into play. That could be a cluster. 2 items could totally be a cluster. Let me make sure I'm on camera there. However, I was taught, and I wholeheartedly believe, that odd numbers are best. So 3, 5, 7. Now, that being said, you got to keep in mind that you're eventually going to add this to a page. You're going to put it on something. You're going to do something with it. And the more layers that you give it, like actual physical layers, like if this were one and then you stack something on top of it and then you put something else and something else, it's going to get thicker. And while it might not look super thick to begin with, when you start putting it into your junk journals, those guys can become pretty voluminous pretty quickly. So keep that in mind. So it doesn't necessarily have to be 3 layers of something. It can be 3 objects. Like I've got this paper is now 1 object. The stamp is 2 objects. And this little piece of paper that I've crimped down is now 3 objects. So there's my cluster of 3, and I'm really happy with the way that looks. Clusters don't really have a reason or a rhyme other than, at least not for me, I just use them as embellishments. You can totally make these with a whole theme in mind. Like if you're into nautical stuff, you could, make them with anchors and boats and sails and all that stuff. But for me, for most of my junk journals, the way that I style them, they don't really have a theme or we'll leave it at that as a theme. So I just put some glue stick on the back side of my vellum, and I'm just pushing that down, and that is going to be my first little cluster. And I've got to wait for, I don't know if you can see, the ink is shiny in the camera when I wiggle that. So it's because the paint is underneath of it. It's acrylic paint on there, so it's going to take a little bit for that ink to dry. But that's going to be one of my first first clusters, and I may come back and put a couple of sequins on here or something as I use it in a journal, depending on how I want the finished product to look. But there's number 1. So now let's do number 2, shall we? All right, this one's got a piece of something weird on the edge of it. So I'm gonna trim that down. That was a little strange. All right, I'm gonna use that circle there, but I don't think it stands out enough. So what if we grab, you know what I said, from my bin of stuff. I need a white piece of paper is what I'm looking for. Bear with me, I'm looking. Oh, actually, you guys ever print anything off to use in your junk journals? I print quite a bit of stuff from time to time, and for right now I cannot for the life of me find a white piece of paper. Oh, look, there's a white piece of paper. Got it, found it. So I'm gonna just do something like this, and I'm gonna grab my dauber. I'm just going to embellish the edges of this. Give it a little character, I like to call. So what if we take this now, and we put this here, and we put this circle on top of it, and I really like that. You know what I like even more? I'm going to grab a marker from my little marker stash over here. A very, very fine-tipped marker, I think. Yep. So for those of you that are curious, I have a collection of these. I've had them for years now. Faber-Castell. This is something that I did not store in my storage unit when I moved originally. Thankfully, they did not go anywhere. So I'm just gonna draw on here. And you know, the great thing about playing around is you may like it, you may hate it, but sometimes it's fun just to play. I think we'll leave it at that. I gave it a little, oh, sorry, you didn't see me draw on there. That's off camera. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get back into the swing of this whole camera over my workspace thing. I have a tendency to pull everything close to me. So, all right, so we're just gonna take this, put a little glue on it. Yep, right there. Same thing with this guy. Put a little glue on it. And put him right there. Kind of makes the different colors pop with that white background. And there's my next cluster. Okay. And last but not least, where did he go? Last but not least, this one. So these, I've got a bunch of them. I printed them off. I found them on a free print site. Anyway, I just printed them off, and I mostly cut them out as I need them. I cut these ones into strips so that I would have them. I really like this number set of numbers. Anyway, I think that's going to go there. And I really think I'm just going to leave that as 2 items. I like the way that looks. I can already tell that's going to go in the corner of a page somewhere. But I'm going to come in here. So this one, I don't know if you guys have used these or not, but these are what this is what's on these daubers. Is this Ranger Tim Holtz. Somebody makes these. I think it's Tim Holtz. Is the one who makes these. They're distress oxides. They're wonderful. They can be a little pricey. I just have 2 of them. They make them in a wide range of colors. You can get them all if you're into, collecting whole sets of things. But I'm just going to come around this. This is a green. It's called Forest Moss. And I'm just going to go around the edge of this and kind of give it a little schmutzing. We'll call it a schmutz. Sure, why not? Yeah, it's been schmutzed. All right, so then I'm just going to add a little glue to the edge of this guy and put him on there. And we're going to call that, now that's only technically 2 layers. I guess with the schmutzing it's 3. But I really like the simplicity of that. The red kind of looks like a bit of a leaf print against that greenish brown in the background there. So yeah, I like that. So, you know, I'm going to sit here and make up a bunch of these. I'm not going to show them to y'all on camera. I try to keep my videos short because I know people are busy. But yeah, you can take a bunch of scraps and in, you know, 20 or 30 minutes, sit down and just kind of let your imagination roam and brainstorm, if you will, and you can come up with some really cute ideas. And if, you know, by the time you're done with it, you just really hate all of them, it's a bunch of scraps, you know, throw them away, move on. One thing about junk journaling is it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be all about you, and that's the great things that I love about it. I made those stamps, didn't even use them. Look at that. I you know, used that one extra flower one on the cluster, right on the cluster. But I won't throw them away. You know, there's no expiration date on these. I'll set them aside, and I'll find a use for them at some point in time, I'm sure. You will probably see these in a future video. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If this is your first time visiting my page, I'm so glad you're here. I've been doing this for a little while now, and I am so thankful for each and everybody who stops by and watches, even if it's just for a little bit. This is Tiffany from Dragonflyer Studios. Give me a like, give me a follow, and I hope to see you next time. You guys have a good day. Bye.